News categorization is one of the like very basic thing nowadays. We want to like be aware of what's going in the country, what's going in the world. So you must know about today's news that Ukraine and Russia are like getting into this war. So we are updated because of news channels, because of news applications which we are using in our through our cell phones and etc. Right. So these are the different things which we want to know about. Now if I am interested in reading news about politics, I don't want to read about this one, or I don't want to read about health and wellness. There are everybody have their own interest to read about a particular or a certain topic, right? So that is the issue. Just to categorize article in terms of or according to the person's interest is our new issue. Because if you're trying to read about news about politics, how the application or the search engine where you are getting news will going to filter out according to your interest, right? So that's the issue. So according to the Microsoft Bing, there are top 50s. These top 50 websites are there. Even you can read news in these websites according to your language. Like if you want to read news about news in Tamil language or Telugu language, some application or some websites do have that feature where you can read language in read news articles in your language. So in United States, the entertainment and media market was worth an estimated 678 billion US dollars in 2018, and was expected to grow over 720 billion US dollars by 2020, which is like very huge. And now in 2020 it is expected to increase more. Okay, so this is the thing. So this problem statement we I have already discussed. Like there are different sectors of a news. There are different categories. Like politics is there. Most of the news comes from politics only. Then health and wellness, COVID thing, etc. uh, so much news is there related to that thing, this pandemic, but since 3 years thing is still there, right? Then entertainment comes about movies, series, etc. Bollywood, Hollywood. Then travel is there, style and beauty, parenting, healthy living, queer voices, food and drink, business, comedy, sports. So many categories are there. So if you like, if your interest is, and the application or the news channel or the search engine, if you are going to read news in that in those things, then they are going to filter it out according to your interest. They are going to show news of all these categories, right? If you only want to read about health, living and parenting, how they are going to filter it out? So that's the issue. That's why they need an AI program which is going to scan the news article, and then they are going to fetch some indexes or keywords. According to that, they are going to identify this article or this news is all about politics or health and wellness or entertainment, etc. We'll see some samples and project related to this topic. So let's read this what they have written. Like news categorization allow user to read articles or news of their interest, right? If I'm not interested in politics, why would I read about those, right? If I'm interested in entertainment, I'll be reading about that. So for that I have to like filter, I have to use filter options. So the amount of published news data is very massive, which we can't even think of. Like in today's world there is so many countries, in countries there are cities, continent, etc. So many things are happening, so many incidents are happening per day, right? So just to so many newses are there, we cannot categorize, we cannot read every single news or article, and we cannot categorize, yeah, this article is about politics, this article is about technology, this article is about sports, etc., right? So news is infinite, the data is like coming and coming and there's no end. So news is available on different websites, as we have seen in the previous slide, and classifying this news is a challenging problem where manual categorization is not at all possible. So that's why we have NLP, that is natural language processing, which is a subfield of AI, which we have discussed in detail yesterday only. So we will be using NLP algorithms just to categorize these news articles, which is going to use to collect news from various sources in text format, in the article or the raw format or in the digital text format. And then they are going to classify them into various categories by scanning some indexes or keywords from that article. Now, if our news is talking about IPL or FIFA or Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, etc. So obviously that article is going to is talking about sports. So these are the keywords like Virat Kohli and etc. Sports. When they are, so they are going to fetch these keywords, and then they are going to identify other article is talking about sports. So this is what the job of NLP is. If an article is talking about natural language processing, machine learning, deep learning, artificial intelligence, blockchain, etc., then these are the keywords which are coming from technology, new emerging technology. So they are going to identify it to the user, and they are going to show the news or article related to that one. Okay, politics means that if they are talking about voting, Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, etc., means they are talking about voting, politics, right? So that's how they are going to filter it out. Now, let's see some samples. This is a project which is there in platform YD. You can see identifying the category. So in this project, what you have to do, this is a paragraph, or you can say as an article of a news. You just have to read this article or the news, and you just have to identify under which category this article or news is coming from. Okay, now let's read it out like Bach Revis, iconic Electra name for, of course, a electric SUV, sedan, new design. So they're talking about automobile, some car, SUV car, electric car, right? So they are going to, what they're going to do, they are going to just have to identify this thing. Like, and the next part, they are going to show you these things, like what you have to, under which category that article was about. So we have seen the previous article was talking about sedan car. So you just have to select the category which the article is talking about. So you have to select automobile here. And this is the second sample. Here they are talking about what is neurodiversity. So they're trying to teach something. This is an educational based article, right? And also they are talking about brain differences, etc. So this will come under health and wellness as well. Yeah, health and fitness and education you have to select. If an article is talking about multiple perspectives, so you have to select all the options which you think can come under those categories of that news article. Then here they are talking about, in this sample they are talking about Buddhist, some religion content. This is right, Hong Kong's Buddhist, etc. exhibition. So you have to select religion and spirituality. Buddhist and all are coming from this religion and spirituality thing. So I have to select that one. Now dinner tonight, they are talking about some food and drink, right? Salmon recipe, etc. So they are talking about food and drink. So I have to select food and drink in that case. So that's how you just have to, there will be these articles, like how we are identifying the category by reading some keywords or indexes. Like dinner means they're talking about food. Recipe, again they are talking about some recipe of food. Salmon, it's a food. So you are just identifying by reading that. So that's how NLP is going to work for this project. Suppose there's a raw data which is talking about salmon and recipe and dinner, etc. So obviously that article, they are going to fetch these keywords, and they are going to identify the category, that the category is food and drink, right? That's us. Like suppose this is our news article in the raw format, raw text. So what they are going to do, they are going to scan some keywords, like see spinning, new king of spin, cricket, paper, etc. So they're talking about some World Cup, etc. Right? So they are going to fetch these keywords, and then they are going to identify that, yeah, this article is coming from sports category. So all the role is coming from NLP, that is natural language processing, which we have discussed. So here they are talking about voting, nine face India, etc. So obviously this is all about politics. So the NLP is going to show you the results of these articles when you want to read about this. Now here they are talking about India ocean warming and has reduced rainfall, etc. So that means they are talking about climate and climate, right? So they are going to identify